Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E. G. Black. And this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
We're in minute 52 of Groundhog Day, which has just a little bit of dialogue, and then song lyrics, as we see probably, I guess, is the best version of Phil's attempt at a date night with Rita. Well, until he tells her the truth later in the movie. Arguably that could be better, or the final night could be better. But this is the date night sequence. This is the peak. First, we're in the middle of the snowball fight, which last minute I suggested Phil might have actually arranged by paying off these kids. And I kind of like the idea of that, but the film doesn't actually tell us that, so we can't assume it. We can't put it in the official list of things that have happened. But he is saying, getting some good ones. There's a boy. That's a boy. Good try. Got him. The kids run away. A few first, and then the last one's like, wait for me. Or, wait. Did he say, wait up, wait for me? One of those. It's not in my transcript, and that is wrong. I need to add it to the transcript. I'll do it when I'm editing this episode. Rita has stumbled into a snowbank, and she says, help me. Phil grabs her hand, and I think the movie is telling us that this is Phil genuinely falling down when he tries to help her. This is the first time that this particular part has happened, I think. Because we're going to see how awkwardly he does it when he does it on purpose. This isn't that. So I think we're supposed to believe this was genuine. He falls face to face, so close to kissing, and then cut to them dancing in the gazebo, Gobbler's Knob and the Pennsylvania Hotel in the background. So we're still getting the context. We're getting those things with lights on them so we can see them. The movie is really good at showing us where things happen. For example, last minute I was ranting about the people in charge of the signage for the walking tour. Getting a location wrong was unconscionable. Let's speak big. And I don't even know how they managed to get it wrong. You have very clear indicators in the movie of where things happen. In the square. We can see the square. If we can see Lloyd's, we're looking over toward the northeast corner. If we can see the Pennsylvania Hotel, we're looking south. If we see the courthouse, we're looking west. The movie doesn't look east very often in the square. It does show us a little bit at the east, like the police car crashes on the east side of the square in the car chase, 20 minutes ago now? Whenever that was. Yeah. It tells us where things are. It shows us. It gave us a map. When the van drove into the square, it drives around so we get our bearings. The song. I forget who sings this.
Dude, it's Ray Charles.
Sorry.
It's like you haven't even seen this movie before.
But You Don't Know Me, I believe is the title. You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so. I see that as going, she didn't give her hand to him, but she was standing where he just was introduced hand first. In the news footage at the beginning, Rita, when Phil first sees her, he can hardly speak. There's this moment where he just stares at her. He's intrigued. And anyone can tell, you think you know me well. Well, you don't know me. Who's talking here? You put the song in, you put the lyrics. Like, this was written for the movie, right? I think this was also written for the movie.
Unless some people, Eddie Arnold and Cindy Walker, were in a really long time loop. No, this song was not written for this movie. It originally came out in 1955. The Ray Charles version came out in 1962. You know this. We might not remember the years. I had to look it up just now. But you know this is Ray. Listen to the voice, man. You're falling apart.
So the lyrics are on purpose. Maybe the editing is not too precise. I don't know how Harold Ramis does what he does when he gets to his editor. But I've talked about the other songs being about, like, representative of the time loop talking to Phil, or Phil talking to the time loop, as it were. or the Pennsylvania Polka essentially being a description of Phil getting through the crowd of people at Gobbler's Knob, and now Phil being in the time loop. He's in the Pennsylvania Polka. It's the dance he's doing. He's dancing it with the universe. So, and anyone can tell you think you know me well you don't know me. Who doesn't know who? Rita doesn't know Phil, Phil doesn't know Rita. Or maybe, if you want to go deeper, this is Punxsutawney, this is the time loop, telling Phil, you don't know me. Or maybe it's Phil telling the time loop, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm going to do. You can still try crazy things, or maybe he's already thinking about doing better. Who knows? No, you don't know me. No, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night. Does the time loop dream of Phil at night? Does Punxsutawney dream about Phil and then wake him up at 6 a.m.? And it's like, I got you, babe. And longs to kiss your lips. I don't think the time loop wants to kiss Phil. I could be wrong. And longs to hold you tight. It definitely wants to hold him tight. It has tight hold of him right now. Oh, I'm just a friend. Now we're back to the rom-com angle. Phil and Rita. They're not friends.
We're not twins.
As far as we know, they met yesterday. He may have met her before, maybe when she got hired, but this is their first time working together. So I'm just a co-worker, I guess you could say, but it'd be weird if the song said that. It's a little too specific. That's all I've ever been. And then in the visuals, we cut to them approaching the Cherry Street Inn. They are approaching from the east. We are looking southeast at this walkway. So they're not walking from the square, including the way the geography of the film works. We have seen when Phil was in a hurry to get to the square that you run out of the Cherry Street and head north, which is the other street. Right now they're on Cherry Street and approaching from the east. So they went on a walk. They didn't just walk from square to inn. And I don't just mean in the real world geography, I mean in the geography of the film. They have not taken the direct route. The song continues, because you don't, it's going to say know me, of course. This is going to be a short episode because there's not much else here except, maybe a note about lighting. Gobbler's Knob at the snowball fight at the gazebo in this minute. What are the lights? We got the action is lit, of course, but then we also have lights on Gobbler's Knob, lights on the Pennsylvania Hotel. We want to keep giving us the map of the location. You don't just want their experience with the snowball fight to be darkness beyond. When they're on Cherry Street, you know what actually look like if you're walking in this location? The street lights might be on. Although I learned today, wasn't on purpose. I was looking up the name of the kids because I keep bringing them up. Even though none of them have been in the film yet. I don't know why I keep bringing them up. But there are 3 kids primarily in the movie that interact with the plot. Except they interact with the plot in a deleted scene as a group of 3. One of them is the boy who falls out of the tree. His name is either Mike or Joey. I think I have tended to refer to him as Joey if I take those names. In my blog for a long time, I called him Zacchaeus as a weird biblical reference. But he's probably named Joey. And then there's a kid who we see only from the back in the movie. He is at the table in the corner at the diner. We haven't seen him yet because we haven't gotten that angle. We'll see him on God Day. But he's wearing a red jacket that says Punxsy Rocks. But apparently, Joey also has that jacket because in the deleted scene, he's wearing that jacket. Maybe the production had multiple of those jackets. I assume they did. I think I've seen one on an adult in the crowd as well. Or a similar looking jacket, so it's probably the same. That kid's name is Mike. And piano student is named Sue. Mike, Joey, and Sue are in a scene that comes directly from Ruben's original script, where Phil is out counting the cracks in the sidewalk. And these 3 kids start interrupting him and yelling out other numbers and basically messing with his counting. And then in the original script, I believe a cop shows up as well in that moment. Or maybe that was the original version, is the cop shows up and asks Phil what he's doing. But in one of the revisions, it was the 3 kids messing with him. So the 3 kids have names because of that scene in the script. Because I haven't seen the actual scene, I've only seen a still image of them filming it. I don't know which kid is Joey and which kid is Mike officially. I don't actually know. And the boy who falls from the tree is not credited as Mike or Joey. He's credited as boy in tree or something like that. I forget what they call him. But then going back to the lighting thing, on this Cherry Street shot at the end of this minute, if you're actually in this spot, it's going to be very dark. You do not see those houses across the street. I took pictures here. You can't see those unless lights are pointed at that house. You are not seeing it. You can see their windows if they got lights on inside. You can tell there's a house there. probably even see the outline of it if your eyesight is adjusted to the darkness. But this angle, the only way we're seeing what we're seeing is because of movie lighting. And that's an interesting thing about movie lighting is we don't think about this stuff a lot. Just like why roads are always wet. That's done by, like, the cinematographer arranges that. Because a wet road reflects more light and makes the image more visually interesting. Imagine this walking moment if Phil and Rita are walking along this fence and it's barely lit by a little street light. Oh, the streetlights, by the way, near the Cherry Street Inn, I learned today while looking up the kids' names, were not real. Well, I guess they're real lampposts, but they were put in by the production. Somehow I had never noted that, even though I have the picture that has a label by someone talking about the lamppost, and I have a picture that shows the base of one of the lampposts. This is clearly not built into the actual location. So they added these old-fashioned little street lamps, and I'm not sure we even get a good look at them. We might have seen one in this shot if the camera was angled a little different. But in the reality of the moment, what we should see, if this wasn't filming, is Phil and Rita would barely be visible until they're near one of the streetlights, and we would not see the house across the street over there on the left. We wouldn't see the fence going back along the side of Cherry Street. And we wouldn't see Phil and Rita's faces very well. But it's a movie. It wants us to be able to see these things. So, there. Short episode. Song lyrics, dating, dancing on the gazebo, and Rita's going back to Phil's place. So I guess my advice for today while you're waiting for the next episode is go watch your favorite movie and see how they light things. See what do they light in the background that really shouldn't be visible, but they want you to have it. And why do they want you to have it? Is it just because it makes the frame more interesting? That's why lamps are on all the time. Just watch any old, especially the older CinemaSins videos. They complain about lamps all the time because, like, in a scene in Twilight where there's like 6 lamps in, what's the main character's name? Bella's bedroom has like 6 lamps. And it's because lamps make little points of light. Points of light are interesting. There's a scene in Mandy. You can go listen to my show, Mandy Sucks Minute, a podcast fueled by hate. It's the subtitle. Because I hated that movie. And I wanted to see if I could do a movies by minute show that was negative. There's literally only 1 minute in the movie where I had nothing negative to say. And it's because nothing happened in that minute. It was just Nicolas Cage as unnamed main character, who I always called Andy, although arguably he's Mandy, walking through a tunnel. And so there was nothing to complain about. It was actually kind of cool lighting because it put him in like silhouette in these like red lights of the tunnel. But in that show, I complained about a scene where wife, don't call her Mandy, by the way. No, go listen to that show. You'll hear all my complaints. But there's no reason to call her Mandy in that movie because the only person who calls her Mandy in the entire film is one of the bad people, and they have no way of knowing her name that we know of. So them calling her Mandy is meaningless. But she's telling a story about when she was a kid. Also, I complained about this whole writing of this story as well because it should have gone differently to be more dramatic. Where she had some birds and her father made her kill them? Is that what happened? Or he killed them in front of her? Or was him making her kill them the version I invented that would work better? I don't remember now. But she's telling this story and she's laying on, like, her husband's, like, her head in his lap, I believe. I say I believe because even when watching the movie, it's hard to tell. Because they're in the foreground on a couch and all the lights are random lamps around the room behind them. So you can barely see them even though there's all these points of light in the frame. So you know what the visual thing, what you're attracted to are the lights, not the telling of the story. And that pissed me off. And then the story was poorly written and the movie is poorly directed, poorly written. That's why I did a whole show about it. So if I'm going to promote anything today, it'd be go listen to Mandy Sucks Minute. I still love that show. I wish, if I did a podcast called Mandy Sucks Minute Sucks, I would complain about episode 50, for example. No offense to you, Curtis, if you're listening to this. My friend Curtis was the only person who actually showed up to be in that episode to celebrate being 50 minutes in. I should have celebrated minute 60. So in retrospect, it also sucks because I should have celebrated an hour, not the 50-minute mark, but 50 just seemed cool. I wanted to get a bunch of people to come and talk about this bad movie or listen to me talk about, or like rant about it. And the only one who showed up was Curtis. And the conversation was great. It was just not what I had hoped the episode would be. Otherwise, I kind of love how that show ended up. I did not do any research along the way until very close to the end of the film. And then I started to be a little more forgiving of the writer and other stuff that was going on. And once I read about him, because I had been making unfounded claims about him and how he actually wrote the script when he was like 12, and he was on the set of Rambo because his father directed Rambo. And I had this whole backstory that I just made up. And then I had nicknames for all the characters because none of them have any frickin' names. I referred to the bad guys as Cenobites. It was a whole thing. And then I eventually invented my own version of the plot that I thought worked better and did a commentary for the entire film. The final episode was a commentary track that you can run alongside the whole film. With a guest spot from Ronald Reagan. Shocker. Anyway.
Dude, this episode has more endings than Lord of the Rings.
And don't worry, I saw the last Lord of the Rings. I'm not going to have the movie end like 17 times.
That's all I had for minute 52, and now I've ranted for a lot about Mandy, and that's not even what you want to listen to. But if you do want to listen to it, go listen to Mandy Sucks Minute, a podcast fueled by hate. In the meantime, I don't know, go make your own podcast. Go check out lighting in a film, as I said. Go spend time with your loved ones, your family, your friends. Go do something that makes your life better, even if it's brief. Because, generally speaking, life kind of sucks.
Knew you were going to say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?